Hi everyone, this is Miris update hash 2, and in this video I'm going to give you a draft of what could possibly be the techniques that I would use to make AI in Miris. The reason I'm doing this isn't particularly to show the tech of the game yet, because when the game is like in development properly, or it's near completion even, and I start talking about the technology of the game, um, I would probably talk more about the the art style and the music and things like that, because I didn't have any say whatsoever in the true uh, technical aspects of this game engine that I'm using here, Construct 3. It's the version 3, but it's called Construct. They call it Construct. I call it Construct, but it is the third version of Construct. I guess if you wanted to talk about the technology that I kind of implemented, but I used their tools to do it, then yeah, we're going to talk about that. In that sense, then in that sense, I have made the tech, if that makes any sense, because I've used their tools and built some system out of it. So it's like an artificial system that I've built to make the AI work and things like that. So if you consider that technically worthy, then okay, I might put that in um, the trailer at the end. Although I probably wouldn't in the trailer, because the trailer wouldn't be like this. The trailer would be a lot different, because it's trying to give you an introduction to the game, basically, first time introduction, or well, not really first time, but you know what I mean, like a sort of a real introduction of the game. Now you might notice a few things. At the bottom right hand corner it says activate Windows. I am very aware of that. I'm actually looking to downgrade to Windows 7, because Windows 10 is the worst operating system I have ever used from Microsoft. It is worse than Vista. This is the worst. This is the worst OS I've ever used, that it's actually annoying on a regular basis. Like, it's just terrible. The taskbar is just horrible. The way that they've done the activation stuff is terrible. The way that the settings is on it and everything is just bad, and it's a bloated operating system. I would move to Linux if I could, but I can't, because Linux doesn't want to grow some balls and start pulling out their own graphics cards, or just going the extra mile to make it work so people can make stuff for it. But whatever, that's a whole other subject. Anyways, so let's get into this update, and let me just show you exactly what I've been up to on this. And another reason why I wanted to show this actually is because I just was so impressed with what I've done. Even though it's very simplistic, it was not easy. Even using the construct engine system, I had to use this thing called a dictionary, which is like, in the real life sense of a dictionary, is the same here. The only difference is rather than having words and definitions, you have whatever you want. I think possibly you could have, like, I'm using direction as a dictionary name, although I'm going to change that right after I've set it to a director, because that's basically what it's going to be. Because it's going to do more than directions. It's going to do directions and sleeping and things like that. For just this tech demo, draft tech demo. I'm just trying to play with ideas of how I can do AI, and that's what I'm showing you what I've done. So we'll play the actual the tech demo, and then we'll go in and I'll talk about it in more detail, and then I'll add stuff to it, and you can see me add stuff into it directly. I should also, before I start, talk about the Miris thing. I did say in a previous video, and maybe in some other life diary or the previous vlog video, that I was going to record the entire game development of Miris. I'm still like on the fence about that, because it's going to cost quite a bit of money. But if after I've got the Ableton push, which I'm going to use to make the music for Miris, hopefully the entire soundtrack, I will be able to then start purchasing hard drives to use. So it might be very possible that I could do that. If it had been like very further in the beginning of my saving up my money, it probably would have been more difficult, because then I would have had to wait a long time and I would have had to halt development. But since I'm almost like £600 in, and the Ableton push costs like 900, it's only a few weeks, months there, a few weeks, months before that is ready to purchase. It might be a bit more than that, but you know what I mean. And Construct is still in beta, and you know the game design isn't even at the first stage of the game yet. So because I'm doing all this research, so there's a lot of time before then. So hopefully before I've got through all that shit. I will have earned enough money to get the Ubuntu and push it. If not, I'm sure it won't be a very long difference. It might be a week. I'll have to wait, and if I have to wait a week, then I'll probably just think of other ideas that go into Miris that aren't in stage 1, if you know what I mean, which I've been doing regularly, in different ways. Not regularly, but on a sparse, regular basis. Anyway, so now that I've got that out of the way, officially, let's go and get into this actually playing the demo. So we'll just see what we have here. If it works, yes, it should. So it's all in the web. The game is going to be on the web. So as you can see, the dog moves to the right and moves to the left. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do some other stuff so we can make him move to the right at random intervals. We're going to make him sleep at random intervals, move to the left at random intervals. It's going to be really cool. You might also notice that Suzanne is a very popular model that's used for just a more complex mesh, 3D mesh that can be used for like loading in a game engine to test if it's working, or just for basic prototyping or testing or drafting purposes. Or you can use it in your little open source movies if you want, or open movies actually they're called. Whatever use you want. You could use it in a movie if you want to. I don't know what you do that for. Maybe there's some use for it. But I didn't model that. But the background, I did model that. I painted with vertex painting in Blender. And then what I did is I took a picture of it in Blender, and then I took it into Photoshop, and then did all this kind of filtering and posterizing stuff. It looks alright. It's not how Miris is going to look at by any stretch of imagination. But it's kind of I was just messing around and just playing about with it and seeing what I could do with it. But it does look nice. I mean, if you just exclude some of the sort of the shapes of it are pretty weird. I mean, for grass, it's pretty weird, isn't it? But if you like imagine it as like a very, very old game or something, it's pretty awesome. I think the best part I think about it is this bit here. This is probably the best area of the picture, and then the way that these humps are sort of blending with this is pretty okay. I mean, there's some bits here where it's messed up or whatever, but it still looks kind of cool. I like it a little bit, but it's not going to be used in the official game. Anyways, as you saw, the dog ran off, so we're going to have to like sort that out. So I did draw the dog, like pixel art. I did all the animation, everything. There's more pixel art that we'll see that from the dog that we'll see in a minute. And what I've done is with this Suzanne is I took a picture, an animation of her moving up and down a little bit, so it looked like she was floating or something, and it kind of looks like that. It might actually even look a little bit better, kind of, but it still looks like it's stop motion animation, doesn't it? So that's not exactly the greatest, but who cares? So let's just go in and let's go and add stuff. So first of all, I'm going to change the dictionary name to director. Now, I've actually done this video several times, so if this fucks up, I'm going to be really pissed off. So I'm just saying, not at you, I'm just going to be pissed off behind the scenes. So, and another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to right, the key to right. Now, I didn't explain exactly how this is all working. So there's this thing called a dictionary, as I explained, and they are holding values of direction. So if I wanted the dog to go to the left, then I would turn on left. If I wanted the dog to go right, then I would turn on right. 1 is on, 0 is off, and that's about as simple as it gets. And then what I do is I just check if right is on, then do this. If right is off, then do that. You know what I mean? And that seems to have worked very, very nicely, actually. And this actually should be left. Wait a minute, no, that might be right. I'm not quite sure. I think that stops it from moving, doesn't it? Well, I'm learning as I go. And so what we're doing is when right is on, then or equal 1, we set the animation to walking right and play from the beginning, and then set the x position or x coordinate to dog.x plus 2. You have to do dog.x so that it knows what you're talking about for some reason, which doesn't make any kind of sense to me. If you already got the dog object set and then you're setting the x position on it, you would assume that it would be able to figure that out, but apparently not. I also think it's actually use that so that you, because if you set, I think if you just set it to 2, then it's only going to do it once, but if you set it to dog.x plus 2, then it might continue it. I don't know how that works exactly, but that seemed it works. Otherwise, that expression works, and it's the one I used and the one I figured out. So, if I remember correctly, or if I didn't, I found it on a forum. I'm pretty sure I figured that out on my own. If not, then I read it somewhere. Either way, it works. And then what I do is, if it's off, then I say, okay, stop the dog, and make it walk left, or make it. I guess it is walking left. So if that was the case, then I probably should set that to 1, not 0. Set that to left, and set that equal to 1, actually. So I'm going to do that, and that makes more logical sense to me. So there, if your right's on, right goes. If left's on, left goes. Simple as that. What I want to do now is set it so that the dog will stop. Will sleep, sorry. So first I have to add a key called sleep, and then I'm going to set that to 2. Actually, I'm going to go set these all to 2, because if I don't, then there'll be some glitches because of having similarities. So that's what you don't want. And apparently I can't set all the values, which is very annoying. Either way, I'll just do it manually then. If I don't do this, then what will happen is, if I'm switching things on and off at the same time, I can cause a loop where it's going on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. But if I set it to 2, then 2 is like the middleman. So it's like, okay, 2 is in the middle, 1's on, 0's off. Or 1's reflecting, 0's absorbing, technically. Anyways, and middle is like the switch between those two, which isn't really switching, it's just different circumstance, technically. Either way, that's just, I think, anyways. So now that we've got sleep, a sleep key put into the director dictionary with the value of 2, we can then go in and say, okay, if the director we compare the value and we say, okay, if sleep equal to 1, then we do this. We set the dog animation to sleep from the beginning, and we then have to stop the dog from moving, otherwise we'll have a lot of issues. So we're just going to actually go ahead and just set. Oh no, we need to put set, don't we? Fuck. Okay, we'll just have to do it manually. Okay, so we just go up, and we'll set that to 2, and then I've got to go ahead and duplicate that a bazillion times, and change it for everyone 4 times, actually. It's not a bazillion, but I'm not really concerned about that, per se. I mean, I guess I was a little bit, actually. I was concerned actually quite a bit. Well, I don't know, whatever. Right, set those to 2. There we go, so they're all set to 2. So now, if I were to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new group, and I'm going to say, okay, let's make this, what would you call this? Random events. This is for setting random events between a specified time range. So what I'm doing here, now if I was doing this properly, I wouldn't write it like that. I would actually go ahead. Oh, I can actually set cut. Oh, that's really cool. That I like when I can customize make the experience. I like experiences, so it's very nice to see that I can actually change the color of that, which I did not know. So let's go ahead and do that for fun. Wow, and that looks shite. Hold on a minute. I don't even know why. That's a bit better. Either way, we're going to add a new event. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the system condition, and we're going to say every certain seconds, and we're going to use random numbers, random. So we're going to say, okay, every 2 seconds to 5 seconds, anything between 2 to 5 seconds, we're going to say set the director key right to 1. And then we're going to do it again, but this time for a different thing, different number. Go from 5 to 8, and we're going to set left to 1. And then we're going to do another one. Crazy, I know. And we're going to do this a different time, so we're going to say 9 to 10, possibly. And then we're going to set this to sleep to 1. And that should be all we need to do apart from this. Otherwise he's going to run off to the right. Technically. Not left. And if we run this, he should do random stuff. I'm not sure though. He might not. Okay, so he's sitting there. Now in a few seconds he should move. Yep, and then he's going to stop or something, or hit the barrier and turn around. So he might sleep eventually, hopefully. Yep, there you go. So now he sleeps. I should have made him wait for a few seconds, but I didn't. So there could be glitches here. Maybe not. Hopefully not. There might be a glitch. I think this happened to me before. Can't remember how I fixed it. Nope, he's not going to do anything. Okay, so he's going to sleep. So what we can do is we can say oh yeah, we got to stop him from going to sleep, of course, because nothing's stopping him from going to sleep. So we need to say, okay, wait a few seconds, wait whatever he's going to sleep for. Let's just say wait 5 seconds. So if he goes to sleep for 5 seconds, we'll wait 5 seconds. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, let's set the key, the sleep key, to 2. And that should make him go back into his normal state. I think. We'll talk about the collisions in a minute. So I did all that animation. That's not that it's like amazing, but it's pretty cool. It's not my best work, of course, obviously. And then we'll wait 5 seconds or whatever it is, and then he should get back up. Once the timer hits, yep, there you go. See? So that's pretty cool, isn't it? So that's kind of how I'm going to do AI, sort of like that. It's sort of like just on and off switches, but doing it in a way that actually seems realistic. It works really nice. Very good. I'm really happy with that. I was super excited to see that. And there's a lot more we can do in this, but like that's just a start. And he might go to the far left too far. He might come back again. Let's see if he comes back. It'll be interesting. He might go too far off. But let's hope not. Coming back. He's probably asleep at the moment. Oh, he's coming back. See, told you. He went to sleep, I think. Hopefully he probably moved to the right again, I think. Maybe not. He's probably not going to, is he? Oh no, now he's asleep. What the fuck? He just sort of standing there and then went to sleep. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Okay. Maybe there's a glitch when he goes off the screen or something. I'm not sure what's going on. Is he asleep? We're going to find out, aren't we? If he comes over here. Or she. He's got to sleep again. Poor dog. That glitch where he like moves slightly to the inch by 1 unit is pretty cool. It is a glitch though. He's gone to the left again. This dog doesn't listen, man. I think I've made his timers too long or something. Get your ass back here. That's not how you should treat dogs. In fact, dogs are a lot more intelligent than people treat them. And I find it really annoying actually. Oh, there you go, he did come back eventually. Hello, doggy. What are you going to do now? Doesn't have much he can do, but we can give him lots more things if we want to. I could make him throw a ball with this type of technique. But I would have to draw that all in and pixel art and all that shit, and it would take a while. Yeah, so he came back. So that's pretty cool. So he does kind of have a mind of his own, but it's not very... I mean, it's, for Game Boy standards, or like Game Boy Advance standards, it's pretty okay-ish. It needs a bit of fine-tuning, but you probably could use that in a Game Boy Advance game. But, because this is a bit more involved, I'm going to make it maybe work on that a lot more because I want them to seem more living. Definitely, if I can, I might not be able to, so it might just be more refined than this, and then that'll be it. Who knows? But let's just go ahead and let's add some more things. Let's go and I don't know, what could we do next. I guess we could yeah, see, he doesn't stop moving his. Wait, to stop his animation right there, which is interesting. I think that's actually a glitch. But regardless, it works nicely. So I think, yeah, we'll go ahead and just add some new things. Let's make it so that this gets an effect and then rotates or something. Let's just do something for fun. Let's go ahead and do that. So first of all, we need to give it effect, and also we need to rename him to Monkey Head, which I should have done already. But oh well. Let's go and add effect that we're going to use. And actually, before we do that, we need to go into the layout. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to see what we're doing. I should mention the collision. So basically, what happens is when the dog gets to this little invisible collision mask, or whatever you want to call it, I guess it is kind of like a collision mask, then he will move away from it, or she will move away from it. And so if you have one at the top, then he'll move upwards, or if he moves it at the right, then on the right, blah, 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 blah. And obviously I'll have to animate this collision mask with the actual model or something, which could be a problem. It might mean I'll have to put a lot of effort into that, perhaps, but it's okay though. If I have to do it, I have to do it. It's not a big deal, unless I could find another way. I could use the collision polygon thing, but then you can't specify like which area is which, so you only have one collision polygon, you don't have 4, which would make it useful for what I'm doing, so you kind of have to use collision masks, as far as I know. So anyways, let's go and add a new effect, and now that I can see the monkey, we can do some stuff. So I have to eat out of this so badly. Let's go ahead and let's see what that does. So we can make it pixelate if we wanted to. Now I don't want to show these effects because some of these might be used in the actual game, so don't want to give it away, although you could get them yourself if you really wanted to. Let's go ahead and let's see what glow horizontal does. That's pretty nice. So should we try and make him like glow like that? Just hum in glowness. The way we're going to do that is saying a parameter value, and we're going to say random numbers, of course, because that's always good. And let's call, okay, so it's called glow horizontal. We need to go to our event sheet, and then we need to create a random event for the monkey head, don't we? So we're going to say, okay, every doesn't really matter, does it? To 10 seconds, we're going to set the monkey head to have effect enabled. Yep, set it to enabled, and we're going to say glow horizontal. Okay, and then we're going to also set monkey head to and I just realized something that's kind of irritating. Fuck off. Right, and then we're going to do another action. We're going to say monkey head set effect parameter, and then we're going to go in there and we're going to set that parameter effect to glow horizontal, and this will allow us to hopefully change that value. So we're just going to do 10% to 100%. Hopefully that works. What? So apparently you can't do that. That's fine. Hopefully we can do that. Hopefully. And that will do that every random second, so he'll have a random amount of glow. The problem is it won't stop once it starts, so we'll just see how that works. If it works at all. It will guarantee to have a glow, because I didn't disable it. So yeah, he's got a glow, so now we just need to see if it decreases or increases. Oh, it's definitely changing. It's hard to tell how much though. And I think it's going so quick that it's hard to see. So we're going to change that. so that it's not happening every 1 second, it's happening every like 5 to 10 seconds, or 10, whatever it is. And let's see how that fares instead. Okay. Okay, so it turned off, it turned back. I think it is working, it's going at slight intervals. Is it going to get stronger? Doesn't seem like it is. It's hard to see if that's actually working or not, at least to me. What's that? It's going to crash or something. Hopefully not. Yeah, it's not very noticeable, is it? That's kind of irritating. Okay, let's try a different effect, because that one's not really working. I mean, it does work. It's just, I presume, it's just hard to see it, so there's no point fucking about with it if it's not going to be very useful, very seeable, is it? So let's set color. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. But then, wait, can we actually set color and then like set how much or something, or tint? Ah, that's cool. Now let's try. I've done this stuff before, but let's in actually programming. So let's see if we can do this. Now I figured actually how to do this in the last video. It's kind of interesting. You just, well, first you actually obviously have to enable it. So we just go ahead and we'll say tint, and then we'll go in and we'll set a parameter when it comes up. We'll say tint, and then what we do is, rather than doing random numbers as you would think in RGB with random numbers, you actually have to do this, and you could just do that and then put random in there. So you can just go 0 to 255, random 0 to 255, random 0 to 255, and there you go, done. And then we can just run it and it will do random colors, tint it random colors, which is pretty cool. Sorry for the sniffing. It should anyways. Should probably make that a faster interval so it's more noticeable. Yep, that's a different color. That's really cool. That, let's just make that faster so we can actually see that, because that's 10 seconds. It's a very long time. It's like 4 to 1. So every 1 to 4 seconds, or milliseconds, or however it works. Not quite sure. I should probably figure that out. So it's changing colors. Cool, isn't it? And sometimes it'll be faster, sometimes it'll be slower, I think. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't even have to change the material. So it's very useful for trying to change a model without having to tint a model without having to change the material. If it's like that, even if it's not like that, regardless, it works. So that's pretty nice. It will change any color you want. I could do it on the dog as well. So that's pretty cool. And let's see if we can do some other stuff. Let's rotate the monkey head, shall we? Just for fun. I'm messing around now, but actually we want to do something else. We want to say add an event to random. Say if monkey is visible, then, because if we don't do this, then he's only going to go like this every few seconds. So you don't want that. You want him to do it regularly. So let's do that. Let's set this to 2 degrees. Sorry, every while he's visible. So he's just going to constantly rotate and change color. So that's pretty cool. It's a bit fast though, but cool, isn't it? I like this program a lot. Let's see. Let's make that a bit slower, and let's do something a bit crazy and make him shake. Why not? Monkey head plus 1. No, wait, plus random number between 0 and 2. That is an expression. Oh right, sorry, I forgot. I have to do monkey head dot x plus. There we go. And let's do that again, but we're going to do it for y. So he should theoretically randomly move 2 units from where he is. Yeah, cool. Although for some reason he's moved there. Now there's a collision mask isn't moved, so the collision ain't working, which is another issue that I'd have to deal with. I'm not looking forward to. But hey, that's just how it works. So that's pretty cool. That's why is it? The thing I don't understand is why has he moved over there? Let's see if that does it. Maybe it needs it to specify. There you go. I think that worked actually. I'm not quite sure if that worked or not, but it seems to be more closer at least, or more user friendly. I'm pretty sure that didn't work, but well, whatever, doesn't matter. But it's cool that he's actually moving. He might actually be moving away, which is funny. I think he's slowly shaking himself away. But it's cool though, isn't it? So you can do all these crazy effects with this. So that's cool. So we do something, a few more things to the dog. Let's make the dog controllable, shall we? So let's do that. I'm doing this for fun now. Let's make a new object and let's give it a keyboard object. Oh, and let's make a keyboard object. And let's make a new group again, and let's say dog movement. Although I don't know if I'd make a group for it, but this for dog keyboard control of dog movements. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, if keyboard key is down, and then we say right, then we're going to add an action, which is move the dog to the right, of course. And actually, first we need to set the animation to walking right, of course. And then we need to set the dog to move to the right. So dog.x plus 1, and then we just do the same thing again, but we do it for the opposite way. So, oh shit, paste. And we're going to say is left down, and set this to walking left, and set this to -2 actually, because it's 2 not 1, I think. If it isn't, then I'll change it later. I'll change it when I can, rather. It is 2, right, so that should be enough, and I should be able to just move him around now. There are other ways to do movement, but they don't really work well in this context. So there you go. He's still doing all his code that he's set to do, like every random time. I'm not controlling it. So he still does that and stops for some reason and then goes to sleep, but that's pretty cool. It's a glitch that kind of looks like it's working. So I need to sort those out, but when I actually do it properly, but whatever. And then collision mask. So there's a lot of things, like you wouldn't control this. This would be like an NPC. This wouldn't be something you control unless there is a part in the game where you could control a dog, although there are no dogs in Miris, but that's a whole other subject. Yeah, the animation's not working sometimes, which is interesting. So I'd have to sort that out. It's cool though, it doesn't look like he's going to sleep, which is kind of interesting. You see, I'm not controlling it now, but if I did, that's really weird. I'm now able to control. The animation sometimes works, doesn't. That's really weird. Either way, I can control it, so if I press left, I move it to right, press right, move it to right. But what I don't understand is why the animations aren't working. So that's weird to me. it's because of that. Apparently it was. Oh, I see. I think there's a collision with the actual animation system. Not quite sure why it's doing that. It does sometimes work though, more often than it did before. It's like it's waiting. And then it's like, oh. I'm not controlling it. Now I am. I see, now it's working, but then it stops. It's like it's waiting for something. I'm not quite sure what it's waiting for. It's going to sleep. Then I can only control it from that side. Either way, I mean, it's still working. It's just weird with it. Why would that happen? Keyboard is right keys down. Oh, I'm an idiot. I am a fucking idiot. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just set the key on rather than doing all this. I think I did that last time. Just set the key to on. I don't have to do all that. I don't have to repeat the same thing again if I've already done it. Oh dear. As you learn, you know, that's what I mean. You learn as you go, and sometimes you don't have to learn at all. Oh no, I mean sometimes you don't have to learn by doing in at least like this. You could learn it in other ways. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense. There's so many ways that you can learn, and people need to understand that. That's what I was getting at, basically. So now it should work, although it's fighting and it's stopped. I can't control it. Has it glitched out or something? Yeah, that's a glitch. For some reason you should. I know why that. The only reason you could do that is because I've turned it on, even though that was turning it off. I can't control it for some reason. What the fuck? I think this is sleep mode, but it's glitching out. Yeah, it's glitching out. So when it's actually going to sleep mode, it's actually stopping, which is interesting. So sleep. Maybe it's because the timing is off or something. Oh, and it also has to wait that 5 fucking seconds or whatever it is for her or him to go to sleep before turning it off. So there's that issue, and then turning all the keys off. So that's where it gets a little bit complex, because you're like, well, yeah, I can't control it. That's very weird. I have to wait till she goes to sleep and then wakes up, and then I can do it, I think. Yeah. Nope. Whoa. That is very weird. Why can't I control her? Is it going to sleep mode? Okay, get up. Nope. Maybe we should make him go to sleep much later on then. That way, it's not a big deal then, hopefully. See, it's all just fine tuning. See now, no. There's no way. Oh, I see. Because I'm setting them at random value, random, turning them on at random times, and then doing them at the same time. They're colliding, so it's stopping them. So this is why you wouldn't want to control an NPC. But could be time differences or something. It could be the fact that they're happening at the same time as well. It's another issue. This is why it gets a bit convoluted. See, I didn't do anything. I don't know why it's doing that. I think it's just stopped. I wonder if, let's debug that, because maybe it's like actually hanging, or it's like it's doing opposite collision. It's colliding. Some values are colliding or something. Somehow. Director. It's set to 1 all the time. I don't get it. Huh. It's not the collision path, is it? I mean, if it's set to 1. And this is where it gets convoluted, because it's like, well, if it's how you. It's like keeping track of all the switches, because 1 is on, 0 is off, but you need a collision check for. You need a switch for other things as well, I guess. I don't know. It gets convoluted. I'm not sure why that happens. That problem happens where it stops like that. You can't do anything else. Let's just see what happens if I run it by itself. And not touch it. See, it stops there as well, which is interesting. Is there any specific reason why it's doing that? Is that because of the... There was something... Oh, bollocks. Did I just literally restart that? I was gonna say, because that would have been fucking lame. I'm telling you right now. Anyways, that's just weird. I guess there was something over here that I did, and I'm not quite sure what that actually does to it, but we'll see what it does, because it's basically the same thing, I think. And that was not set to 1. That was set to 0. Maybe that was what it was. Which is really weird. Okay. Right. Okay, he's going to sleep. Okay, so I can control it a little bit, but not a lot, as much as I could before. But it is working, it's not stopping, is it? But it's doing this bumping back forth thing, which is a bit annoying. Which it shouldn't do. But it needs to stop, that's what it needs to do. But it's not stopping, it just keeps going. And ping-ponging off that wall, the collision point. But if I move the collision point out the way, like that, then it's like, what's he going to do now? What's she going to do? Is he just going to keep going to the right? Wow, apparently she is. Okay, so there's obviously something wrong with that logic. So my original idea was working. I think it's just that, yeah, it's a little bit weird with it. So what I don't understand is, I mean, disable them, right? So now there's no more random intervals. So is it still gonna fuck up? No control over it. Nope. No control. That's strange. The browser's lagging out for some reason as well, which is very annoying. He will sleep for 1 second though. Nope. No control over it. That is bizarre. And it's lagging. How long have I been recorded for? Fucking hell, almost an hour. That's bizarre. What the hell? But there's nothing turning it off. Which is why it kept going to the right. Which is interesting. I have no idea why I can't control it. That shouldn't even happen. What the fuck is going on? There's no way that could even be activated. Okay, there's some bug going on that I'm not quite sure. Either way, you get it. You get the idea. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will be doing some another video once I start working on the more official prototype, which is not really official per se. It's just going to be me trying to learn how to do things like that, but it's more focused on learning rather than showcasing the game, if that makes sense. And then after that, I'm going to go quiet and I'm going to start recording the videos of me making the game once I actually start development of the game. I did try to get lots in there. I will try to get lots in there. I haven't actually started developing yet. Literally, like the game design book, everything, the art, music, everything. I'm going to get it all into that game dev collection of videos if possible. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Bye.